Welcome to Turn Right Machine Works. My name is Keith, and yeah, we pretty well put a day's work in the shop there, and we got plenty of work going on. And I wanted to get out here and play tonight. And before I go in the house and have some Chinese leftover, we're working on this Chinese saw here. It kind of gets me in the right mood, you know. And I don't know if it does or not, but anyway, we're investigating on the noise, and we're gonna play around with the adjustment here, and if this is simple enough to take care of and get this thing lined up, I'm gonna bring you in close here because this thing is so far out of whack. I think somebody had two joints, and then two medical marijuana rolled up cigarettes, and then came in here and adjusted this or something, because it really is misaligned. There's one loose bolt. There's one tight bolt, one loose bolt, one missing bolt. So that's why this is all in here, and this is all rattling around. So that's why this thing sounded like a hay thrasher or something, you know. So anyway, what I'm going to do right now is I'm just loosening up the four main bolts right here on the engine or the motor, and we're going to go ahead and see if it doesn't cock a little vertical here. But before I actually do the movement here, I will get you in. Get a good look at this here. All right, there is a little bit of looseness in the hinge and stuff like that, but we're not really worried about that when it's closed. But there's the missing bolt back there. There's the one that's tight, and the one down here is loose, and you can see it's all flexing. And all right, now this is what I'm talking about. Okay. This pulley is not square with that pulley, vertically or horizontally. Now this one's stationary. This is the driven. This is the drive. We have to align the drive to the driven. This can't move, but this can. It has side-to-side motion right here. Most motors are like this. You can see that it's jacked over here all the way. Well, you can see that we got clearance in on this side here, and we're pushing out here. You can also you get a visual look at it. And this thing is cocked down. So I'm loosening those bolts up, see if we can get it cocked up. And, the angle of the dangle's not right. So it's kind of what we're tweaking on right now. And I figured I'll go ahead and loosen those four bolts. Right there, and down underneath here. And then we're going to see if we can get a little twist on that motor. Okay, this really I'm trying to move this thing, lifting it up and back and forth here, and tension it. Okay, this belt looks like it's too big, and our travel with the motor is out here. We're gonna probably be pulling this thing down to parade rest, but what we're gonna do first is we're gonna go ahead and, because we have adjustment, and this block is really all the way this way here, and it looks like in relationship it needs to go back that way. This guard is over here, but that guard needs to be pushed back as well. So we're going to go ahead, loosen these two lock nuts for the main pivot, and unscrew on this side here. And screw in on this side. And these might not even be really close as far as being in right as well. Oh. Alright, now this, see, that really needs to come out, and I think there's a little bit of adjustment over there on that side there. This is starting to look a lot better already. And if you take a straight line here, we're looking a lot better. A lot better right there. Okay, we're going to go ahead, we're going to tighten up these right now. Actually, we're going to come back this way just a skosh. You know, when this thing is being tilted up, so and if these loosen up, I've had them travel before on my other saw, and they kind of go haywire. All right, let's look at our alignment again, and all we're doing is going from this outside here. You know, it's looking pretty close. It's still looking like the motor's cocked a little bit, but it just may just need a little tiny bit of tweaking there. Alright. Yeah, that moves a little better. Let's see if that can tighten up the belt. Guard's still got a little bit of room. Yeah, see that guard can move a little bit. That may be okay. Alright. Let's take a break and go have some Chinese takeout there. Alright. Well. Okay, I think I'm done with China. Let's see. Got the fortune cookie, Super K fortune cookie carry-out company, New York. Oh, Ted's the Chinese guy down at the restaurant. He went all out. Oh, let's see if we should continue working. Let's see. You were born to be a leader, not a follower. Okay, just so you know, I'm no bullshit here. If they're fresh, I do like fortune cookies. Alright, this is looking a little better. I think I'm going to go hunt down a bolt, and we're going to go ahead and get that in there, because we found out that if this thing gets lifted up in place here, it's got a little bit more travel here. That was working out a little bit. We can loosen these up a little bit. We're going to give as much twist. We'll tighten everything down, and we'll see if we took care of the rattle thrashing around here. All right, we got just we got one bolt in over here, American bolt there. We just didn't have any metrics laying around. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and tighten up these other two right here, and then there's some sliding adjustments, and we're gonna get this guard slid out now to match the pulley alignment. And all right, cool. Because this shroud is touching here, but we want it to come out a little bit there, or go in a little bit. And I think we just loosen this up just a little bit here, and we get it to go in like that. And we tighten it up. Okay, it's not touching, and it's not not rattling. That'll close in. It's not touching anywhere. Okay, the motor can be lifted and adjusted. All right. Now, down below, we got a problem that we got to deal with the adjustment, or the tensioner. Okay, the main, it's a little dark underneath here, but this motor mount slides like this back and forth. Okay, and this bolt here, this is a pretty big groove right here. I may have to change this around. Okay, it should really be one pivot and one bar, and it could be curved or sickle shaped like an alternator mount or something like that. Now that's where it's got to go right there, and this bolt was tensioning out here, and they jacked that motor and everything else out there to meet that, because this is stationary. And what I see is it has about the thickness of this washer right there, right between it, and that would be ideal. So I'm going to go find another washer to fit on the outside, because this will just draw through that right there. Alright, so I'm going to go hunt up one, and then we'll come back and we'll throw it in there. Okay, for right now I got two washers in here, and this long bolt comes over here. This is a knurled knob, but the knurled knob is right tight to this. There's a little bit of an air gap, so it's not gonna vibrate. The only thing that could have a chance of vibrating is that cover right there, but everything else is pretty well solid. That's there. We got the motor adjusted out and everything's pretty well tightened up. We're gonna lock down these two top lock screws here. All right, they are locked, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna move my soda so I don't spill it. All right, and now I'm gonna bring you up here. We're gonna plug this in, and there we go. Just want to show you that we got nice tension here. This looks really good as far as a straight line here now, and the alignment just a tiny skosh off. Looks pretty good from the top view now. Not really vibrating. On the manual touch there, we'll just lift it up so that we know that we can have a little bit of on, and here it goes. Tiny bit on the cover here. The sump cover was open and that was vibrating. You know, it's not bad. At least I can. It's a good start. At least I do know that we're in line and that belt's going to wear pretty good, and it's getting closer. Alright, so nothing detrimental in there, so at least we don't have any hazards of running it just like that. Now I'm going to go ahead, and now that we got this out of our reach here, we're going to go ahead and we got to cut the drain tube, because it's like old and crusty and locked in really tight and hard. And the only way I can slide out that whole sump, which I want to pull it completely out and clean it up, is to go ahead and cut that tube. It's made to slide and get it out, but the thing is so old that the section in between is reduced in diameter. There's no way of physically getting it to slide. Alright, there's that tube I'm talking about. This is pretty dark in here. And to get a light in here, and the wiring on that going into the box, that needs a grommet or needs something there. You can't just have wires hanging out like that. All right, and it says strong coolant pump. So, and here's your access to it, and you know there is stuff in there. It's looking pretty nasty. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and I don't think I can slide this thing. It'll rotate. But it definitely, so I'm going to take the hacksaw and I'm going to cut that out of there, and we should be able to lift this thing out. We'll slip that off, and we'll get some new hose to put on there. We're going to want to make something that's going to hold up to kerosene and cotton oil, because I think we're going to be doing that. We're going to be changing out this aquarium this line right here to something that's going to handle petroleum products. Alright, here we go. This is gonna, that was pretty painless. Alright, well maybe I took out a section here, and it's pretty good that I actually the reason why I can't move it, you can look at that. Okay, this drain is completely clogged. that's sediment. That is completely packed with saw filings and stuff. So it's a good thing that we're actually checking into this. Alright, so let's go ahead and slide this unit out. And here's where that little grommet fitting goes in into the bottom of the motor there. And it looks like we're going to be pulling that, we're going to be cutting that line right off of there, and we're probably going to have to get in the box there, or we're going to undo here, and we're going to, I think we're probably going to undo that line right here. I don't know if that piece can come off of there. And of course that looks as nasty as you think it does. So I gotta break loose a couple leads, so I gotta get a screwdriver here and a pair of dikes, because we're just gonna cut that hose right off of there for right now. Well, what we decided to do, we got to looking in here, and we want to make sure that this pump is working before we do too much. And this sump is divided into two sections here, so the pump may actually be sitting in an area that is empty, and we're hoping to at least be able to see the motor spin, physically see the shaft in some way or another. So, and I don't know what this whole configuration looks like here, so we're gonna pull these 4 bolts out of here. I'm pretty sure we can lift this pump right out of here, and it wouldn't and that looks like the shaft right there, looking pretty rusty. So what we're gonna do is turning the switch is not getting it moving. We gotta unplug it and investigate there and see what's going on here. Alright. Looks like 2 screws right here, and maybe this motor pops off of here, and maybe there's a coupler there, and we can see if the motor spins and the coupler doesn't, or what's going on there. We're gonna need a smaller socket, that's for sure. We pulled these 2 bolts out here, and I believe, and we pulled the plug on our thing, because I believe that this is going to expose the armature and the bearing here, and it's going to let me pull that apart just like that, and then I'm going to see if this is frozen, and we got it to move. Okay, and that is the shaft, and that does move. That bearing feels pretty good. That bearing feels good. That pump sounds like it's a little crusty. Alright. Now that we got that, does it see? I don't see. It doesn't smell burnt, and that's a good sign to me. And okay, we're registered in there. We'll put these 2 back in here. Alright, now we can pull this apart, and now we can pull it up here, because okay, we can physically rotate that pump. it's not turning. I do not know yet. We pulled this cover off the bottom of this pump here and turned this upside down so that we could physically see if there was anything down in the veins that were plugging it or clogging it. And there's a few things in there, but it's actually rolling now. So what we want to do is see if we can put power to it and roll it over and see if we can get it free. Faster than that. All right, and it only works with the Okay, so what I think, I got to clean this up, and this has a capacitor in this cap right here, and I think that that might be weak. It definitely shows you that I really needed to get this out. This other section right here of pipe here. And we got that off of there, and this clog. The clog actually goes right down to where it sat on top of the pipe there. And the other part of the clog, we slid it down here, and that section there, you can see it just piled out. Alright. Okay, we just got off the, well, we moved this thing up here because I got tired of being on my knees there on the ground, and we set this thing up here. We just got off the phone with our Sparky and told him what we did, and we got it to roll around. And he says, "Yep." He says there should be nothing wrong with that capacitor. The capacitor would be on the start mode only. But he said if I can clean up that armature on the outside and get any humidity, any debris that might be in there, and he says put some time on it. So anyway, I was just laying it up here, and I turned it on, and all of a sudden the thing just started bolting, and it left a line that went like this and all the way up and down, and I got goo all the way up here on the side of my shelter. Luckily this one wasn't in the face, but you don't want rust goo on your shelter wall. The saw was looking pretty clean. Whatever was really stuck in here really did let go. All right, so now I know to put. In fact, actually, it flung so hard it flung all the goo right out of there, and this thing spins. Well, you can see that it spins pretty good. All right. And it looks like it's spinning right up to speed now. Okay, now that we know we got a coolant pump that's going to be working, we can start cleaning up this hellhole that we actually got in here, and we're going to go ahead and finish pulling off our line now, and we're going to disconnect our electrical because we do want to go ahead. I mean, that's no way to have your electrical go into the box there. There should be a grommet. Actually, that is a rubber grommet right there, but you know, you can't have that's not right. Alright, so I like to make that a little better, especially because I'm going to run my mixture of kerosene and dark sulfur based cutting oil in this saw so that I can have it out here in the wintertime. And you know, we're just one more step closer, so I'll probably work and start getting some of this cleaned up here in the next couple days, and I'm just going to set up and probably just go with some fuel line. What I can get that down at Napa or AutoZone. Alright, well, I'm getting ready to put her to bed, and we're satisfied. We're going to start cleaning up on our pump. But I went ahead and I had forgotten, I tightened the 4 bolts that actually bolt the motor on, so that we're I finished up the getting it dialed in here. These could be pulled out a little bit on this end, and this could be steered over a little bit, and it'll make it look a little better, but it's actually functioning without rubbing or clearance. I've slowed this down now. We were on the highest speed, which it doesn't need to be. Right now we're running at 120 feet per minute, and a lot quieter now, and there's really no resonance at all. Maybe just a little tiny bit in the cover there. You know, nothing to complain about. A big step tonight. So, you know, almost ready to rock and roll with this. We're gonna get the coolant pump set up. Once we get that all set up, then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pull this blade out of here, and we're gonna check the slide and the adjustment. We gotta make 2 handles, and then we're gonna do the guide rollers down here, the bearings. I'm probably gonna pull those and go ahead and I'm gonna order up a new set, and we'll replace those so we can start out fresh, and we got strong, you know, the right tension on the blade. I know that it's pretty far off because I can see light gap in between when it's up in the air. You know, little things like that. We're just tweaking it out. Alright, we brought in this armature for the sump pump there, or the coolant pump for the Inco saw. And these are just a couple pieces of aluminum square here, and we're going to support that bearing, and we're going to bring down the arbor press shaft there, and we're just going to press that bearing loose right there, because we have a brand new one that's going to go on here. Even though this feels really good, we got this thing apart. We're going to put on 2 brand new ones. Alright, these let's set this down right here for right now, and we're going to open up the bearing box here. This is these are just notchy bearings as far as the brand name going, and these are the same as we pulled out. They're shielded. And these are made in Japan. Feel real nice. And the numbering's on both sides, but if you have a choice and there's only numbers on one side of your bearing, put it facing outward, to where when you go to take something apart, if it was going to be in the bearing cap or something, the part that you know that's going to be facing out where you could see it without totally pulling it all the way out, so that you could get the number and stuff. It's just good practice. Alright. Motor armatures and end bells and stuff like that are pretty soft press fit. They're not a real snug fit. Alright, so the other one's into the housing of the motor. So we're going to go out to the saw itself, and we're going to do that one out in place. We're going to pick up a punch on the way out to tap that bearing out. Alright, this is, by the way, I took this off of the top saw. This is the handle that was on the tensioning, blade tensioning. And I have a reason to think that, of course, that knob sticks out in the open. It probably got broke that way. But I think it might have something to do with the operation. We're going to be getting into that after we get done putting this pump back together. Now, we're going to be doing some painting and stuff, but we want to make sure that this pump is functioning and working fine. And this, in fact, actually, I just pulled that off. This is a little sight glass that was in here, and we found that it was semi-loose, and we were able to tap it with a little a little bolt here. We just went tap tap. We didn't even put a hammer on it, and it sensed that it was loose, and then we went ahead and we pried this up, and you can see that the bearing, and this is really fairly clean inside here, not really a lot of rust and buildup, so we're real surprised how good a shape this really is. Now we're using brass so that we don't damage that bearing, and just a light tap taps that bearing out, and there again, this bearing still feels good. And we're going to put both of these in back into boxes, and we're going to put them into Ziploc there. I don't know, it's not a cost thing, it's just kind of one of those things where if you run into one and it's on a weekend or whatever and it's rusty and trash and you need to get something going, it is nice to have something to throw in there. Not that it's going to be on this item because this is going to be running in oil. Shaft feels pretty good. Whoop. There we go, almost dump over our whole thing there. Okay, we figure that we were lucky getting this impeller off of here, and this little tiny bolt or screw right here that was holding this all together. And here's the impeller, and that goes all the way home there, and we're going to put this screw in here. And actually this screw did have a washer under it. And like I said, we're going to have, this thing's going to be submerged in oil. And actually it spins in that direction right there. Because I know that the flutes will fly out, and it has a choke cavity and goes around this way here. Alright, here's the opening there, and that will go on there just like that. Alright, so what we're going to do, and that sits in those recesses right there, pops on. I'm glad it still does pop on. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to put a little bit of Never Seas around here, just so that that surface right there doesn't corrode any more than it is. Now we know, like I said, we're going to have oil. This thing's going to be submerged in oil. Alright, and that actually goes right in there like that, and we stir down so we align the holes, and each of those holes are aligned. I think I took that apart down here. And these three screws here were kind of these were a miracle also, that we actually got these out of here. And we're going to be cramming some juice on here. Alright. Little Never Seas goes a long way. But not using any Never Seas is really a mistake. If you get it apart, you should go ahead and put some Never Seas on it. Okay, equal torque, and we still got really a free running shaft here. This is going to be excellent. Okay, so we got new bearings. We cleared out all the rust, and we can spin that freely with our thumb really fast. And it's going in the right direction, and we will be able to put this plastic back in the top here. When we get ready to paint this, we'll set that for the final time there. So basically this pump now is ready to go back together, and I'm going to go ahead and just wipe the excess never sees off of here. Now we're not going to bother painting this. One thing that we don't want to create is we don't want to paint and then have the paint break down, because we're going to be using kerosene and cotton oil, a mixture that we're going to run in this saw. We don't want the paint to peel off and then get mixed in and clog the pump or line or anything along the way there. Kind of our thinking. Alright, there's the pump ready to go back into the pan. But the pan needs some cleaning up, and we're going to be doing that next.
Okay, we're down here. We're putting our pump back together. Of course, we threw on some paint. This is only one coat of paint on here. We got 2 coats of paint on the flap doors. This is all the paint that we're going to do right now, because our goal is to go ahead and get this in there. Let's get some operation on this saw. We have some other things to do. We're going to go ahead and put in the new bearings, and we want to play with the adjustment head, and we want to go ahead and get cuts created on here. We have a backup now of about 3 jobs that this saw can do for us. So I'm going to go ahead and put the electrical together here. And we have a real tight hose that's got to be put on. We're going to get that fit in here. And then we're going to go ahead and plumb in our supply line. And then we're going to get up onto the saw itself. So I'm just putting these lines together. And I marked this one with the black. And the first one was the ground. And that was just slipped underneath this here. Like that. Okay. Now we didn't like how this rubber grommet was, so we put another grommet on here as well. And this doesn't get pulled through there as easy. In fact, actually, we're going to go ahead and we're going to ensure that it won't pull through. We know where that ground went. Alright, now we cut half of this off of here because this little capacitor's got to sit right beside here and stay in here. So we'll put that into play there. Okay, reconnect our ground. Okay, then we mark these. One with the dark stripe. That one stays just like that. Okay, this one here with that dark stripe gets put right there. This is a good hiding spot. People come in the shop and they don't know I'm out here. Sometimes we gotta lock our front door there, so people will actually walk all the way around the shop. Alright, we get that in there. We got that in there. Alright. That nice closed package. Go ahead and get our screws here. Oh, we were looking for that screwdriver. Okay. Alright, there we go. Alright, now let's move on to our fuel hose. And fuel hose, we're going to go down through here. And come on over to here. Okay, now we have a couple hose clamps we want to get on there first.
Alright, we're going to slip the 1/4-inch fuel line down over this barb. With that pressure, that barb right there may not even need a hose clamp, but our intuition of things that might go wrong tell us to go ahead and put one on there. Alright, so there's that one there. Now we're going to feed this on over closer because we're getting ready. We got this clear plastic tube here that has got to go between here and there. This is pretty stout stuff, about 1/8 of an inch wall thickness on there. This is a piece of pipe, so, and fresh paint, and it's kind of tough. So we got this area here. It's got to slip over both of them here. And the one that came out of here was plugged solid because debris sits right up on here, and every once in a while you have to clear this thing out with a rod or something like that. So anyway, we're going to slip this on over there, and we're going to get it in place, and we're going to add some fluid. So we have 2.5 gallons of kerosene here, and we have our cotton oil mix, and we're going to go ahead and do a 50-50 mixture, and that's what we're going to be pumping with this saw, so that we can maintain a no freeze zone here. All right, this is in here loose right now. Okay, we're getting ready to put this together, and this is a piece of copper tube. This is an old antique valve. It's got an M on the handle. I don't know what it is, but the old style, and a nice ball in here so nobody gets hurt or whatever. It's all cast, and I just found it in a collection of stuff that somebody had dropped off. And we got a couple other things also that we're putting on this thing that actually were just they kind of have the right shape for the job there. And I have to laugh because I just put I found this copper tube in my collection there, and this is going to mount like this, and that is right above the blade right there. And it's copper, and we'll be able to bend it to shape or whatever, and smash the end if we have to. We can do all kinds of shape. So right now we're going ahead, and as soon as we get the ratchet going in the right direction here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to lock that in right there. That's going to be nice for the valve here to control the fluid, and we'll be able to twist this, get that over there. We like that. We're going to lock that right there. All right, and this is going to come over here, and this, we're going to let this go because this is going to be sliding back and forth right here. So we're going to let this curve up like that. We better get a hose clamp on here, like that. Okay. That's pretty good. I'm going to twist it here so we can go ahead and, like I said, the that fuel hose probably tightens right on those barbs. Probably pretty good. This I mean, this little plastic impeller that's going to create this is not no high pressure application here. Okay, and we have one other keeper that's right here. And we're going to need a screwdriver to tighten that. Alright, let's go ahead and get it. Get a good look at that anyway. Let it go down a little bit. Okay, so anyway, as this slides back and forth here, that hose can flex. I like that. Okay, we are going to tighten this up though. This doesn't need to move right here. Okay, I like that, and we'll probably do a little bend like that, and we might slip a little piece of rubber over there and slot the rubber so it goes over the blade. As long as we're getting fluid on the blade, we'll have to see how that's going to go. All right, we're gonna lower this down. We're gonna clear our tools out of there, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to leave it up a little bit because we're going to go ahead and we're going to test run the fluid. Alright, you can see we got that motion right there to adjust our rollers. We're going to worry, they had this guard rinky-dinked on here, and we're not quite sure. We got the folding cover. We're going to be taking a look at this, but right now we're going to be running without it. Alright, so we're going to set this like right there, and I don't know which is off or on. I didn't blow through that, didn't mark it. We'll just have to figure that out when we go ahead and turn it on and put our fluid in. Okay, we're going to mix up our cutting oil for this saw here, and we're going to be mixing this with 50% sulfur dark cutting oil. Sulfur-based dark cutting oil, and we're going to go ahead and put that in here first. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and measure that depth. Okay, you know, this wouldn't take so long if I had all my stuff here together at the same time. Alright, so that's 4.5 inches. This is a cylindrical container here, 4.5, so we're going to come up to 9 inches. 9 inches is, oh, it's just below the handle there. All right, now this is kerosene, and I'm glad I don't burn kerosene, because this 2.5 gallons, and this 2.5 gallons cost me $13 and I don't know, 40 cents, 50 cents, something like that, down at Hall Oil. Look at that, a nice red kerosene. Now this is a mixture that old timers, when I first started in the shipyards, we had this giant power hacksaw, racing power hacksaw, and these two old timers, Roger brothers, Jimmy and Stan, they got this old hydraulic controlled. Hydraulic was the raised lower, everything else on it. Racing power hacksaw, and that thing was a beautiful tool, and we ran 50-50 was the mixture they had me put together, kerosene, dark sulfur based cutting oil, and that machine stayed gorgeous. And we were in open air on the beach. Well, I shouldn't say on the, it wasn't like a beach, we were in the harbor. So somebody might think that's a beach. Okay. Yeah, okay. Give it a little mix here. Okay, now I'm not going to try to pour it into this here down here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pour it right into the top of the machine here, because, you know, if that pan ain't doing the job, then we shouldn't even be running it in here, huh? Alright. Slow, easy, that'll do it. I can hear her flowing down into the sump. Yeah, she's flowing down there, okay. Alright. And you know what? Pouring it slow is the thing to do. Alright, we're going to fire it up, and now we can go ahead and we can turn the pump on, and oh, there we go, we got fluid. Actually, see, it's off again, so center is on and either way is off. That's a good flow. Flowing on the blade pretty good. A little bit of splash right here. We're going to have to make sure that we got something that controls that. We're not going to want that splashing in there.